Ever wondered what the monsters from Hotel Transylvania would look like if they stepped out of the screen and walked among us? Let's find out, character by character. Curious to the core and always craving adventure, Mavis earned her place as one of the most beloved protagonists in the whole saga. In real life, she'd have short black hair, light blue eyes, and a look that would blend perfectly with the mysterious world of vampires. Selena Gomez is the one who voices her in English. This energetic young human ends up fully becoming part of Dracula's family. Imagined as a real person, he'd have messy red hair, a smile that's contagious, and that kind of vibe that makes people notice him the moment he walks in. His English voice belongs to Andy Samberg. The result of Mavis and Johnny's union, Dennis carries the best of both worlds, half vampire, half human. Brought into reality, we'd picture him with reddish curls and that restless energy typical of a kid who's always getting into some kind of adventure. He's voiced in English by Asher Blinkoff. Running the hotel and always looking out for his family, Dracula is without a doubt the most powerful vampire in the entire universe of the film. In Flesh and Blood, he'd be a man with very pale skin, black hair, light blue eyes, and an aura that mixes elegance with a touch of intimidation. His English voice is provided by none other than Adam Sandler. Great-granddaughter of the feared Abraham Van Helsing, Ericka ends up being one of the most memorable villains in the franchise. Her real-life version would have white hair, a look that hides more than it shows, and an extremely refined presence. The actress who voices her in English is Kathryn Hahn. Dracula's best friend and a very funny twist on the classic Frankenstein's monster, that's Frank. If he existed, he'd be a huge guy with a very robust build, visible scars, and fairly pale skin. In the earlier films, his voice is handled by Kevin James. With a personality that's impossible to ignore and a very particular style, Eunice steals more than a few scenes inside the hotel. Translated into reality, she'd have grayish skin, dark hair with a white streak running through it, and a look you simply can't miss. Fran Drescher provides her original voice. This friendly mummy has a knack for livening up any gathering just by showing up. Brought into reality, he'd be a guy with a large build, skin wrapped in ancient bandages, and an always friendly face. Starting with the second film, his English voice is provided by Keegan-Michael Key. Wayne is a werewolf balancing family life with the adventures he shares with his monster friends. In his real-life version, he'd be a large gray wolf, wearing a light blue shirt and tie with a fairly imposing presence. Steve Buscemi is the one who voices him in English. Wayne's daughter and one of Dennis's closest friends, Winnie never misses out on the group's mischief. In reality, she'd have gray fur and two little tied-up pigtails with a brave personality that shows in her eyes. In the earlier films, her English voice was provided by Sadie Sandler. Part of a huge family of werewolves, Wanda stands out for how loving and protective she is with her own. Turned into a real wolf, she'd have thick gray fur, very expressive eyes, and a maternal air that's obvious at first glance. Her English voice is provided by Molly Shannon. His particular sense of humor makes Griffin responsible for several of the funniest moments in the hotel. In real life, all we'd see would be his signature glasses floating in midair, as if no one were holding them up. David Spade is the original voice behind the character. Dracula's father and one of the oldest vampires in all of history, Vlad carries enormous weight within the family. In reality, he'd look like an elderly man with extremely pale skin, pointed ears, and a presence that commands respect with just a glance. Mel Brooks is the character's original voice. With his gelatinous green body and his more playful side, Blobby is one of the fan favorites in Hotel Transylvania. If he were real, we'd be looking at a giant translucent mass, with very expressive eyes and a body so flexible it could stretch out or swallow objects without getting hurt. His original English voice comes from Genndy Tartakovsky, the franchise's own director. A lifelong monster hunter, Van Helsing became a legend in that line of work. If he existed, he'd have a huge blonde mustache, a very distinctive hairstyle, and that expression of someone always ready for the next hunt. Jim Gaffigan is the one who voices him in English. Between his massive size and his constant mischief, Tinkles is behind some of the most chaotic moments in the movie. If he really existed, he'd be a dark blue pug with huge eyes and a face that just begs to play all day long. Joe White is the one who voices him in English. That's how you probably pictured the residents of Hotel Transylvania in real life. Or maybe not quite like this. Which one turned out closest to what you had in mind?